Look at that. Amazing. All right, clock starts when the first tweet goes up. Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. All right. Khabib versus Tony over under 600,000 pay-per-view buys. Ooh, that's a good one. I will say, I'll say under, but just barely. I will say under. I'll say 500,000, but that's a great question. It's an interesting thing to ponder. Next. Is Conor versus Anderson actually a possibility? Well, anything's a possibility, right? Me versus Conor is a possibility. I think what you're meaning is there a degree of probability to it? And to that, I would say almost assuredly no. However, we live in a world where Conor fought Floyd Mayweather, so what do I know? Next. If McGregor fights Silva at a catchweight of, let's say, 180 pounds, as rumored, or even 179, I heard, what should I do first? Do shots of bleach or rewatch the Kimbo Slice Dada 5000 fight? Well, don't do shots of bleach because there's no reason for you to suffer any more than you already have to. But certainly rewatching Kimbo Slice Dada 5000, a fight I was there live for, is always for a time to lighten the mood. Yes, rest in peace, Kimbo Slice. All right, next. How come chili and mashed potatoes don't go together, but they go with everything else? On what planet do mashed potatoes go with everything else? Like, how does that make? Oh, yeah, here's my mashed potato and flan or cheesecake souffle. Yeah, that sounds terrible. Or how about, here's my chili. Let me just dump this on top of my paella. I mean, if your paella is at all worth a damn, you just ruined it with some chili. So the question's nonsensical from the outset. Next. If DC happens to lose at UFC 230, does he still get stripped of the light heavyweight title for the Jones versus Gustafsson fight? Now, he is saying this week that there's a chance he wouldn't be. Because they don't bargain for anything, and because they're all at the whim of the UFC, the answer is no one can possibly know. So, congrats, fighters. Next. Your prediction for El Clasico. Well, at the start of the season when everyone was healthy, Lopetegui had his mojo. I would have said good things, but they are looking like basura, my poor Real Madrid team. But you know what? They've won 3 of those Champions Leagues in a row, 4 of the last 5. It's time for a smaller club like Barcelona to enjoy a little success. So I'm always going to cheer for Real Madrid, but it's a bit of a down year. So there you go. Not much of a prediction. Will Cain fight again? If so, when and who? I'd like to see a Verdum rematch. Well, Verdum's on ice for 2 years, so that ain't going to happen anytime soon. Will Cain fight again? My guess is yes, but honestly, who the hell knows when, man? I would have sworn he would have been back by now. And we actually had Chael Sonnen discussing Fedor's legacy on the show. Was it last week, I believe? And in that space, he was discussing how the debate has kind of changed because of Cain's absence. I don't know how much the Sonnen win adds to Fedor's legacy. I don't know how much the Mir win adds to his legacy. But here's what I do know. The absence is adding to Cain's resume, and not necessarily in the best way. It's not the same as having a loss, obviously, but you have to do more work. And there's just not enough done to have a high grade. What we saw was incredible, but what's left, I don't know. So in 2019, I would say 50-50 shot. Next. Do some divisions in the UFC have too many fighters? They can make more divisions, but some, I think, are too overloaded. Yes. I was told you need about 25 fighters. You can do it with 20, but you need about 25 fighters to make a division. And so that's the bare minimum you would need to get it off the ground. Now, some of those divisions barely scrape by on that, and you've got others like the sweet spot of lightweight and welterweight that are super overloaded with it. Yes, they can make some in between there, I would say. It's sort of 165. Next. What fighters would you like to see participate with each other in a specialty martial arts match? Example, Ortega versus Khabib in a grappling match, or Adesanya versus Till in kickboxing. Well, we know Adesanya can do kickboxing because that's where he comes from. The Khabib grappling one to me is more interesting. I don't know how good his grappling is just for MMA or how good it is in overall grappling. Obviously, he comes from Combat Sambo, but the strikes in that one as well. But in a scenario where he has no strikes, how good is it? That's one I would love, love, love to see. So I would say the Ortega-Khabib one would be more interesting. And by the way, shouts to Gilbert Burns who competed over the weekend and looked pretty good at CBD. All right, next. Thoughts on the upcoming fight with with Anthony Smith and then Volkan Oezdemir? Seems like it could be a good one. Here's my thought. Oezdemir had an amazing run and then, of course, lost against Daniel Cormier. I think he's looking to reassert himself in that division. And Anthony Smith beaten not one, but two legends of the game. And as a consequence, is needing to prove that he didn't just beat some over-the-hill fighters, that he's that guy. And so as a consequence, this is a big one for him. Can you beat a ranked contender who's still kind of young, right? That's the issue here. That's somebody this high level at that age he hasn't crossed yet.